So what are some mistakes that I've made over the last 5 years while I'm driving the truck, or at least while I'm behind the wheel of the truck? Or what are some mistakes that I've seen other drivers make while they're in the same situation, either behind the wheel or actually out on the road driving the truck? The first thing just happened here just a few minutes ago. A driver was pulling away from the dock, and the trailer doors got to flapping against the trailer, and one of them popped loose. It got to swinging, and it clipped the trailer next to the trailer that he was pulling away from, and it crushed the door because he didn't see it, and he kept driving, and it got to dragging against the trailer, and it crushed the door. Now that is an issue that we actually have to consciously pay attention to with the trailers that we pull around. Anytime we are docking or pulling away from the dock, we have to be totally conscious to make sure the trailer doors don't come unchained from the trailer, because that does happen here regularly. When I was new, I was actually backing in. When I was about a year in, I was backing into a dock on a rainy day, low visibility, and my trailer door came loose from the trailer, and luckily it was sticking straight back again, straight back. And after I backed to the dock, the lady came out and she's like, "Hey, you got to pull back up. Your trailer door's in the building." And I'm like, "What the hell?" My trailer door is in the building. I had to get out and look and see what she's talking about. I'm like, damn, my trailer door came loose from the trailer, and luckily it was sticking straight back and I didn't smash the door. In that situation, it was low visibility, but if you're pulling out and pulling to the right or to the left or backing in, around a truck or around a trailer, you can't, there are points where you may not be able to see the back door. So you definitely need to be paying attention to that when you're backing in or pulling out, especially if you're pulling around trailers that aren't the highest grade of quality, okay? The next thing that I have actually done myself as a new truck driver, and I've seen other drivers make a mistake that I've seen other new drivers make as well, is pulling into spaces that you don't need to be in with a truck. Pulling into spaces that trucks shouldn't be in, pulling into a space that there are too many cars around. I've learned over the last 5 years that whenever I make a stop, it needs to be at a truck stop. And even some truck stops don't even offer the best space. One thing you got to understand is when you're in a space where it's not really designed for trucks or good for trucks, and there's cars all over the place, and that's specifically what I'm talking about, a space where there's cars all over the place. People driving four-wheelers, they aren't paying attention to trucks. They're zipping in, they're zipping out, they're all over the place, and they're really not paying attention. This is actually something that I have done myself. I've been in spaces that I shouldn't be in with the truck for one reason or the other. So you want to make sure you're not in spaces where there's too many cars, where it's congested, where it's not designed for trucks, because that is just an accident waiting to happen. The third thing I've seen several truckers do while out here on the road, when they're on the side of the road, broke down, or for whatever reason on the side of the road, is not putting out the road flares, not putting out the triangles correctly. When I'm coming up on your truck or on your vehicle on the side of the shoulder, the first flare, the first triangle that I should get to should be the one that's, so of course you're over on the shoulder. The first flare, the first triangle that I should get to should be the one that is over in the shoulder the most. And then the next one that I encounter coming up on the vehicle should be the one that's out a little bit closer to the shoulder line. Then of course the third triangle that I encounter should be the one that's closest to the shoulder line, or maybe even on the shoulder line, because the objective of the triangles or the flares is to route traffic away from your vehicle. And so many times I see trucks on the side of the road with their flares out totally incorrectly. I saw a guy out the other day with two of his flares sitting next to each other. And then the third flare sitting the closest to the truck, or the last one that I would encounter before I get to the truck, sitting closest to the truck and sitting furthest inside the shoulder line. And I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I see truckers out all the time with their triangles out correctly. Again, remember, the objective is to route traffic away from the truck, not route traffic to the truck when you're on the side of the road and you got your triangles out. The fourth mistake that I have seen truckers make, I haven't made this mistake yet, but I've definitely seen truckers make it, is when making a right turn, obviously you want to use as much space as you have. You want to do what they call, you want to use all the real estate that's allotted to you. But the interesting thing when you're making turns with a truck or when you're backing into spaces is you cannot give yourself enough space and cause a problem, but you can also give yourself too much space and cause a problem. And in the case of making a right turn, you can give yourself so much space that a car can get in between your trailer and the curb. And obviously you can see why that would be a problem. So you want to give yourself obviously enough space to make the turn wide enough where you're not on top of the curb, but you don't want to be so wide that a car can get in between your trailer and the curb. When I make that turn, I want my right tires, my back tires, to go around the curb with about a foot and a half space all the way around the curb where I'm clearly not on the curb, just in case there's a pedestrian on the corner or something, right? You don't want to be on the curb, but then you don't want a car sneaking into that space as you turn anyway. So fourth mistake that I've seen drivers make while I'm out here on the road in the last 5 years, cutting a right turn so wide that a car can get in between the curb and the trailer. Fifth mistake that I have actually made, and this is just a matter of being careless, tired, sleepy, end of the day, not paying attention, not triple checking stuff as you always should, is not paying attention when I'm coupling and uncoupling, not disconnecting the wires, or not lowering the landing gear. Simple mistakes that can cause a lot of time, right? If I don't lower the landing gear, I can pull out from under the trailer, and if the trailer's not loaded, it might not be a big deal, but if the trailer's loaded and it's the end of a day and I'm tired, that can be a pain in the butt just from not paying attention and making sure that I lowered down my landing gears. And likewise for not disconnecting the hoses when I'm pulling away from a trailer. Also a simple mistake that I have made, and I'm sure other truck drivers have made as well. I've had truck drivers suggest to me, and I follow their advice in this situation, that I should keep extra glad hands in the truck with me. And I'm imagining that they have suggested that for the same reason, right? Because they've done it before. So now I keep extra glad hands in the truck with me. But that's, again, a mistake that a person would make when they're not triple checking everything, especially when coupling and uncoupling. Sixth mistake that I've definitely made as a new trucker, and I've definitely seen other truck drivers make in the last 5 years, is not getting out and looking. Anybody that has a CDL or is studying to get a CDL has heard the term goal, get out and look, but it's likely that there will come a time that you don't get out and look. And it only takes a second for something to happen, especially when you're in a tight space. You want to make sure you take the time to get out and look if you ever feel the need to, and it doesn't matter how many times you need to get out and look. In CDL school, of course, when you're taking your test, they limit how many times you can get out and look. But when you're actually out here on the road and there's vehicles around, it don't matter how many times you got to get out and look, okay? So I'm imagining other truck drivers have had a similar situation happen where all they had to do was just get out and look. And it's like things happen so quick when you're out on the truck. So getting out and look is important. That is the sixth mistake that I've definitely seen other truck drivers make and I've made myself. And the seventh mistake that I've heard of truck drivers making while they're out here on the road is dropping a heavy trailer on a tilt and not lowering the landing gears all the way down. If if the trailer's heavy and it's on a tilt, meaning the trailer is tilted to either the right or the left, and your fifth wheel is greasy, and the driver hasn't lowered the landing gears down all the way, meaning when he pulls away from the trailer drops a bit, which means when that driver backs up under that trailer, there's a time period that the trailer is just sitting on the fifth wheel. And if the fifth wheel is, greased up nice and good and the trailer is heavy and the trailer's on a tilt, that can cause, of course, you can imagine how that can potentially cause a problem. If you have to drop a loaded trailer on a tilt, you definitely want to take extra precaution and make sure that when you're dropping the landing gears, you drop them down to the point that when you pull the truck out from under the trailer doesn't drop, which means when you back the truck under the trailer, the trailer at all times is still sitting on its landing gears. Maurice Bay, the Helpful Trucker here. For more helpful CDL tips, go here or consider subscribing to my YouTube channel right here. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but instead you chose to be here with me, and I really appreciate that.